Listen. Not to the city. Not to the traffic, the announcements echoing through train stations, or the distant hum of neon-lit streets. Listen to what exists below all of that. 50 meters beneath the suburbs of northern Tokyo, there is a silence so complete it feels unnatural. A silence untouched by weather, politics, or time. While millions of people rush through their mornings, checking phones, sipping coffee, boarding trains, another world waits underneath their feet. The temperature here never changes. 16 degrees. Always. The air is damp, heavy, and smells faintly of stone that has never seen sunlight. Water beads along concrete surfaces like sweat on cold skin. Somewhere in the darkness, droplets fall with a slow, patient rhythm. This place was never meant to be seen. It was never meant to be admired, and it was certainly never meant to be visited. Yet it exists, massive, deliberate, and hidden. Beneath one of the most advanced cities on Earth lies a structure so vast, so extreme, that calling it infrastructure feels like an insult. This is not a tunnel. This is not a sewer. This is not a basement. This is a machine built to fight nature itself. A city built on a trap. Tokyo did not choose its geography. It inherited it. From the air, the Kanto Plain looks harmless, flat, wide, and densely populated. Perfect for a megacity. But geography, like history, has a long memory. Tokyo sits inside a natural basin. A bowl. 5 major rivers flow toward it, not away from it. When rain falls lightly, the system works. When storms intensify, it doesn't. Water collects. It slows. It rises. And when it has nowhere left to go, it turns against the city. For centuries, this risk was manageable. Floods came, damage followed, and life rebuilt itself. But the 20th century changed the equation. Tokyo didn't just grow. It exploded. Concrete replaced wetlands. Asphalt sealed the soil. Rivers were narrowed, redirected, confined. What once absorbed water now rejected it. And slowly, without realizing it, Tokyo became something dangerous. A modern city sitting inside a natural flood trap. When rain became a weapon. The warning signs were there long before disaster struck. Seasonal typhoons grew stronger. Rainfall patterns became unpredictable. Drainage systems designed decades earlier began to fail under pressure. Then came the early 1990s. In one violent season, rainfall overwhelmed everything Tokyo relied on for protection. Rivers surged past their limits. Streets vanished beneath brown, fast-moving water. Underground spaces, subways, parking garages, basements, filled first. People fled upward. Water chased them. Entire neighborhoods were cut off within hours. Transportation collapsed. Economic activity froze. The damage wasn't just physical. It was psychological. For the first time in modern history, Japan had to confront a terrifying idea. What if engineering alone was no longer enough? The city that began to sink. Flooding wasn't Tokyo's only problem. Beneath the streets, another disaster had been unfolding quietly for decades. As industry expanded, factories and power plants pumped enormous amounts of groundwater from beneath the city. Water that had supported the soil for thousands of years vanished in a matter of decades. The result was invisible, until it wasn't. The ground compacted, the land subsided. Some districts dropped by more than 4 meters. Think about that. A city of tens of millions slowly sinking, until parts of it sat lower than the rivers meant to protect it. Concrete walls, levees, were raised higher and higher. But each increase made failure more catastrophic. If those barriers broke, water wouldn't just flood in. It would pour. Tokyo had become a city held back by thin lines of concrete, standing between normal life and sudden ruin. The impossible question. In the early 1990s, Japan's top engineers, hydrologists, and urban planners gathered to face reality. The question wasn't dramatic. It was brutally simple. Where does the water go? You can't widen rivers in a city with no empty land. You can't raise walls forever. You can't stop the rain. Every traditional solution had reached its limit. There was only one direction left. Down. Choosing the void. Digging beneath Tokyo was not a new idea. Subways already existed. Utility tunnels crisscrossed the underground. But what Japan was considering went far beyond transportation or drainage. They weren't planning a tunnel. They were planning emptiness. A massive, controlled void beneath the city, large enough to temporarily hold entire rivers. Not redirect them. Not slow them. Capture them. The idea bordered on insanity. Digging that deep meant facing unstable soil, groundwater pressure, earthquakes, and the constant risk of collapse. Any failure wouldn't just destroy the project, it could damage the city above. Yet the alternative was worse. Do nothing and wait for the flood that would eventually overwhelm Tokyo entirely. Japan made its decision, naming the unthinkable. Officially, the project received a name as cold and technical as the concrete it would be built from: the Metropolitan Area Outer Underground Discharge Channel. No poetry.no drama, just function. But among the engineers and workers who would spend years underground, it earned a different reputation. They called it the Abyss. 13 years underground. Construction did not begin with celebration. There were no grand ceremonies, no massive crowds. Instead, 5 separate construction sites quietly opened across the Saitama region. From the surface, they looked unremarkable, fenced-off areas with machinery and warning signs. But beneath each site, a descent into darkness was beginning. The work would take over a decade. Not because Japan lacked technology, but because nature refused to cooperate. Earth that behaves like liquid. The soil beneath Tokyo is not friendly. It's alluvial, layers of sand, clay and water deposited over thousands of years by rivers. Under pressure, it doesn't act like solid ground. It flows. Dig too aggressively and walls collapse inward. Remove too much support and the earth floods itself. Every meter downward increased the danger. Traditional excavation methods were useless. To survive, engineers had to rethink how humans interact with the ground itself. Engineering in the dark. Instead of digging and reinforcing afterward, Japan reversed the process. They built the structure before removing the earth. Specialized machines advanced slowly, rotating steel faces cutting into the soil. Behind them, robotic arms installed massive concrete segments, locking them together into sealed rings. As the machine moved forward, the tunnel already existed. No exposed walls. No open earth. Just a growing underground artery, advancing centimeter by centimeter. Progress was slow, painfully slow. But survival demanded patience. Life above, monsters below. For years, residents went about their lives unaware of what was happening beneath them. Children played, trains ran on time, homes were built and sold. All while massive machines worked in silence below, cutting, reinforcing, advancing. The city slept. The abyss grew. Why so big? The scale of the project defies intuition. This wasn't designed for everyday rain. It was built for catastrophe. Engineers calculated worst-case scenarios, multiple rivers flooding simultaneously, combined with peak rainfall events. The structure needed to hold millions of tons of water, without collapsing, floating, or rupturing. And it needed to do it repeatedly. Failure was not an option. Building for earthquakes. Japan doesn't just battle water. It battles the ground itself. Earthquakes are a constant threat, capable of tearing rigid structures apart. So rigidity became the enemy. Every tunnel, every chamber, every joint was designed to flex, absorbing movement rather than resisting it. The structure would bend, but it would not break. A cathedral no one was meant to see. As tunnels expanded and chambers connected, something unexpected happened. The engineers realized they weren't just building infrastructure. They were creating a space unlike anything on the surface. Vast, echoing, almost sacred. A place where scale alone commanded silence. But this was no temple for worship. It was a place built to wait, waiting for the storm. By the time construction neared completion, the city above had already forgotten why the project began. Floods were less frequent, technology advanced, confidence returned. The abyss remained invisible, empty, patient. Because machines like this are not meant for everyday use. They exist for the moment everything goes wrong. And when that moment arrives, silence ends. The underground world beneath Tokyo is real. It is massive. And it is unfinished without its heart. In part 2 we will descend deeper, into the vertical shafts, the impossible depths, and the machines that made the abyss possible. The digging was only the beginning.